awake.
And then the gray. You look flummoxed. Are you flummoxed at the electronics here?
I'm just, we're recording and all of that, but I can't figure out why I am always so much louder than you. And
I wonder, well, you're right above a vent. You suppose your voice is going ricocheting off of that?
The vent? Unclear. But one thing I do have to say, I think I've got it.
Okay.
So the one thing I do have to say, though, that makes me laugh, whenever I get to the studio here and we get the equipment out and whatever, and Colleen has about a 59-foot microphone cord.
Yeah.
And it's preposterous. And
it's what came with the whole thing.
I know.
When one of them busted, I went and got like a reasonable sized one, which is the one you're using.
Yeah. Well, so what was so funny to me is that, I have a rich retail history. I worked in clothing stores for years and years in high school and college and things like that. And obviously Fantasy Gifts is a retailer. But when I always look at how perfectly you wind your mic cord. And I, despite my best efforts, am not a good winder or folder. I'm a really great hanger-upper, and I can iron a mean shirt.
Okay.
But I suck at folding, and, I don't know how you do that.
I know. It's just a thing. I'm sort of a neatnik. Drives my daughter insane.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. She has a typical teenager room in which I just shut the door and don't look at unless I can start smelling the laundry.
Yeah.
Okay. And sometimes though, I'm like, she can't find a car fob right now. These are.
It's there.
Yeah. She got the car to the house.
Yeah.
So therefore, the fob has to be somewhere on the property unless, I don't know, it fell into something and we don't know it. But, you think that sometimes people come in and they go, oh my God, your stuff at Fantasy Gifts is expensive. No. I went, because we misplaced one before. I went to go over to the dealership to get a fob. It's like $450.
I know.
I honestly, I think my head spun around. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, it could have. Yeah. So we are talking about kids, which I suppose if we are the sex cast, kids can be a consequence. So let's just, I do have a question about the kid thing, because I was this way too. And now I'm kind of a neatnik, like you, but I'm not as good at it, apparently, as you. What is it about when you're a kid, you let your room get so... I can remember having stuff like knee deep.
Yeah, I drove my mother insane.
Why do we do that? What is that?
I think we're just too excited about other things. Honestly, it's the lowest thing on your to-do list.
And we haven't
because
learned
you need to hang around friends. Friends are so much more important right now.
But how about the aversion to squalor? At what age did we get that?
When I was the one that was responsible for my own place, then it was neat. I have no idea why my mother didn't kill the three of us when we were younger, because we did nothing. We were such little shits. And now we all have, we all keep our homes neat. So obviously something happened. I don't know how we did it. Which is also hilarious, because at no point, actually my parents told us nothing. I told you, we've never had the sex talk. I think I'm pretty good at that.
Slays me.
I've never ever helped out around the house. My house is pretty neat. They never did any gardening or cooking because they were too busy trying to keep us from dying, and run a business. Yet I do these things.
That's funny.
So
osmosis of sorts.
It has to be. So this will be good for my kid too.
Yeah. So there's hope.
There's hope. Yeah. Sorry. As usual, we're rambling on the Northern Sex
we always
cast.
do this. Well, we really need to thank Sweden for our opening salvo today, because this, okay.
Please tell me it involves... Okay, so I ran across a TV show the other day, and it's got 3 women in it. It's on Acorn, and it has a Danish, Swedish gal, and a Norwegian, and they're the most tall, most beautiful-looking human beings. Oh my God!
I know, it's not fair.
The cheekbones. I don't understand. Actually, anyone with cheekbones. I've noticed the folks that we have a lot of immigrants from Somalia here, and their cheekbones. I want to touch them.
Yeah.
I have a little fat round face, and so I'm really enamored of faces that just hang on beautiful cheekbones.
Yeah.
My daughter has beautiful cheekbones.
Yeah, she does.
So Sweden.
Speaking of Swedish TV.
Okay.
So I'm watching a show on Netflix called Quicksand. Mm-hmm. Those shows that are, and I've watched another one called Border Town that was produced in Finland. Mm-hmm. They're like really good. They do some really good TV. I'm just saying. But this cracks me up. And quite honestly, having watched a few series from that part of the world, this sounds exactly like what would happen. Okay. So, you are in a sauna, because they're kind of famous for that shit, right? Mm-hmm. In Sweden. And a couple naked men are in there, just,
Oh, yeah, they just certainly do not have the hang-ups about group nudity that we do.
No. Mm-hmm. So these two guys are at a sauna, and all of a sudden, the one cop that was sitting there starts chatting, and then they looked at each other because one addressed the other. It's like, hey, hi, my dick's hanging out. How's your dick? I don't know what they were saying. Yeah. But the cop recognized the wanted man that was naked with him in the sauna. And the naked police officer calmly told the man that he should consider himself arrested. Note, it does not say that they prematurely ended the sauna. No. They both sat there and finished what they were doing.
You know what? It was on their to-do list, and it's a relaxing. The officer was going to have an enormous amount of paperwork. The other guy is going to jail. Another 20 minutes in the sauna. Okay, yeah. It's exactly. This is
so Norwegian, Swedish, Scandinavian is what I was trying to say. Yes. So it's so funny. He did call colleagues to pick him up, and I love how they characterize this. The arrest, quote, was undramatic, and the wanted man didn't try to flee. Possibly, too, because he was naked. And they said it's easier to take action when you have your colleagues with you and all of the stuff. And they joked that it was as stripped down as it gets. So anyway, there you go. Oh. Is that great?
That's brilliant. That's just the difference in sexual, because really that's the difference in like how people just contemplate nudity,
Well, yeah. And I have a sauna in my house and I love it. It's a freestanding. It's not built in, but yeah, they rock.
Saunas are too. I would love if I knew it wouldn't be such a pain in the ass, and they always break down. I would have a steam room. The moisture sauna is what I is that what you like? That's what. Yeah, if there's a choice, I'm in that.
The infrared saunas rock. They absolutely rock too. So Goop, we talk about Goop all the time. Move over Goop. Okay. And get ready for Poosh. Poosh. Thank you, Kourtney Kardashian. She's launched her own lifestyle website with all the things you would want, like the Wonder Spice turmeric, a list of organic wines, non-toxic toys, workouts for instant butt lifts.
I read you got to be really careful about where you buy your turmeric. Turmeric, how do you pronounce that? Because a lot of it, there's pretty high lead levels in some of it. Little PSA, you can Google it, figure it out. I poked around and stuff like that.
Really?
I saw that my sister had some, and a lot of people are using that for anti-inflammatory stuff.
Okay.
So, from what I understand, it's not easy enough to dump in your protein shakes and do all that sort of stuff. But make sure you're getting it from a reputable source.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So again, another Kardashian venture, which will probably be very successful.
Oh, I'm sure she will. She actually, which one is this?
Kourtney.
She's the oldest one, I think.
Is she? I don't know.
Oh, my daughter for a while watched this, and I said, "You do realize?" She goes, "Yeah, it's a great example of how not to be." I said, "Thank you."
Are they obnoxious? I don't even know.
It's really the amount of money they have allows them to be like capricious, upset about the dumbest things.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because you never, and then you're just like, how long did it take them to plot this out? We're going to go here. And then like real life gets in the way and they have to figure out how like not to film that. So I find that, because I'm thinking, is this when this was happening? And I'm actually sort of fat. I absolutely do not begrudge them one freaking dollar that they've made, because if someone's willing to give them money for that, and like, fine. And the fact that they developed all of this after P-tape, is fine. Go with it. It's the freaking American dream, and I have no problems with it at all. But I certainly haven't given him any cash.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think Courtney will probably be better than Gwyneth about not shoving stupid shit up your vagina.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Gwyneth walks around looking like she has stupid shit in her vagina most of the time, so it makes perfect sense. But I digress. So Poosh's Instagram account already has 2.5 million followers. So you can check it out. All right. This is funny. And there's a company called Prima Donna. And this guy, and I don't know if it's a guy actually. I think, no, it is a guy. Okay, his name is Ignace von Dorsalare. And the company's called Prima Donna. So what he does is he makes his male employees do a stint in fake boobs so that they can feel what it's like to be a woman.
So in other words, if they're burdened by the little suckers, maybe they'll stop being such assholes about them?
Well, I guess. So since the average E-cup weighs around 2 to 3.5 pounds per breast, Dorsalari makes his employees wear weights hung around their necks. And when the fake breasts start to hurt their backs and necks, and when they understand, that's when he says they understand how important good support is. I think they make bras.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah,
okay.
Total makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I have purchased bras that, seemed okay, but you don't really know. I mean, there are some that you know immediately, like, no fucking way. I want this thing off my body in seconds. But other ones
you think
take a couple of hours of actual wearing and doing stuff versus just sort of standing there in the fitting room. You lean down, shake, get them in place, do all this, play with the straps. Like, yeah, okay. And then, like, the next day you wear it and you're fucking dying. It just, no, to find, and so, but at this point, honestly, I wear Target bras that don't have any underwire, and I have found that they work fine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm looking at some Poosh. You're right. She has a 2.7 million followers. I can't even say that.
I thought you were going to say falafels, but yeah, go on.
Oh, God, now I want falafel.
I know. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay. But she only has 69 posts.
Okay, it's new.
It's really effing new.
Yeah.
Let's see. She's a picture. There's a video of her feet. There's several pictures of her and other. Ooh, what's this? Is this a sex toy? No, it's a giveaway of something, not a sex toy. I don't know it. Probably looks like random makeup and maybe an atomizer for like scent or something. For a second, I thought it was like a boob or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was some sort of vibrator thing.
Look,
so I had to see whether or not it was a sex toy.
For sure. Mm-hmm. So, it's always kind of interesting when, do you ever watch like the nature channels, with the National Geographic when they look for species or analyze animals and stuff? Do you like that kind of thing?
I did. I did as a kid because I thought that I loved the folks that narrated them.
Oh,
and now because I thought the voices were great.
Oh,
they seemed like those deep dark and stuff like that. And now, I start realizing, I have this problem. I'll IMDb and I'll find out who the heck, because now you can find out who's narrating it. And then, which is stupid because now all I see
is the person
and I'm no longer paying attention. So I've got to stop that shit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like that you find out weird shit, weird little critters and
rabbit holes.
Oh yeah.
We go down
because they were on right before, or right after Disney as a kid. Remember?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mutual of Omaha thingy.
Oh my God. Yes. Mm-hmm. What was it, Marlon Perkins?
Yeah, I think so. And the other guy always did it. He's like, well, he goes wrestles the lion. I mean, so the fuck is amazing. let me talk to you.
Phallic clams is where I was going with this.
Phallic clams. Oh, are these the what are they called? Geoducks?
No, these are they are deep sea wood boring clams. And they have a very long extending organ that protrudes from their out into the ocean. And it's a tiny swimming clam that has to find sunken wood or die. So it's a penis that eats wood. Why is that funny? I mean, it's just this whole thing. And they're called, what's the name of them? They're called,
it is really amazing.
Genera.
Yeah.
They're called genera.
Huh. how many things, I mean, because human beings just, I mean, not only do we need to find faces and things, there's a whole word for that, because you can look at like if I look at my door over there, at one point I'm going to find a face in it. We try and find familiar objects, but for the most, but the amount of times that we will see penises and boobs and all sorts of stuff.
Because we're looking for them.
Yeah, we're looking. Yeah, I mean, and then the chicken cutlet thing. Where people were. It was a recipe. I'm pretty sure I posted it, where someone was making did a recipe for like a chicken cordon bleu. So they split the chicken breast and they're poking at it. Then they're putting in cheese. Oh. And then they're pouring sauce. And I'm just like. The cupcakes, the cake that people thought looked like, I'm like, that's just nothing I've ever seen that looks like, looks like a vulva. But yeah. So why not have a clam that has a penis-looking protuberance?
One of my most where I find a lot of things is in cottage cheese ceilings. If you look up, you can see all sorts of interesting shit in those, or like the dots on the acoustic tiles here.
See, there's the other one. This is
Oh.
Geoduck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There you go.
I'm not sure that's how you pronounce
phallic.
it. Gudek. I don't know.
Oh, you know what that kind of reminds me of? This is so funny. The rude banana holder. This is so funny. So it's the banana bunker.
Oh,
Have you heard of these?
Yeah. There's nothing better than the reviews. And then it's sort of like ribbed for her pleasure, right? Doesn't it have like a section of ribbing?
Oh, sure. But here's the funny thing about it is for, and this makes sense, if you have a backpack or a purse or something, you want to take a banana.
You don't squash the shit out of it.
Right. So it's a banana protector, but they look phallic, and the reviews are hysterical. So we're going to post the story on the Great Northern Sex Cast Facebook page, and you can read some of it, because these are people that have actually bought it, and they're so funny, and there's a lot of them that are really clever. So check it out. Do you like Kate Beckinsale?
I don't really have an opinion on her. I think I can picture who she is. Was she in one of the vampire movies? That's about as generic as you get.
I can see her face, but I couldn't give you her filmography. But for Mother's Day, there's a picture of her and her mother cracking up because she'd given her mother a gigantic purple dildo, and her mom is 72. So, she said, happy Mother's Day, and in the UK, it's already been Mother's Day, but she's like, we could laugh when stuff is weird and surprising. So, my mom and I still laugh over weird ass shit. We're like, oh my God. But here's the best thing. So my daughter is 18 and she turned 18 early. And so all of her friends are slowly turning 18, So pretty much you turn 18 and you go visit Fantasy Gifts. It is hilarious. Okay.
So they've been going and doing that, and we come through. And I said, you better be nice to all employees, and they better card you. I said, they do. I said, good.
Okay.
But it is, it's just really fun. She comes, because the other day, I'm like, okay, where are we going? And she goes, she's like, yeah, it's a birthday today. And I said, so you're going to go look at porn? She's like, yep.
Well, that's great. That's fine.
Okay, I've never tried to shy away from what I do for a living. Yeah. And now she's taking people on tours. I never even took her on a tour. We haven't so she's out there exploring the store, and I have no idea what, she's like, she goes, there's some fun stuff in there. I'm like, okay.
Did your parents had to have started this before you were 18?
Yeah, I was 15.
So did they keep you away from everything too?
Well, it could, yeah. I mean, it's just the state of Minnesota says you're not allowed to see it, so they didn't bother with that.
Okay.
But the summer that I was 18, turning 19, I worked at the St. Louis Park store for the summer. Okay. And I looked about 12. It was hilarious.
Oh, I bet you did.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you could be a very baby face. So I don't know if you ever saw it. There was a commercial here where, and it was pretty funny. It was a guy that's taking a shower, and he was using vaginal wash in the shower. And when he realizes what it was, he goes out and he's like chopping wood and doing all this kind of stuff because he's like embarrassed. You seen that?
No,
it's funny.
I don't watch TV anymore.
It's okay.
I don't even have it.
It's pretty funny. Well, a similar situation happened in it looks like, I think it was the UK. Yep. And it was like a product reviewer, like a beauty blogger kind of woman. And she had something called Femme Fresh. And her son was in her shower and yells, "Hey mom, we're out of shampoo," and hands her the empty bottle of Femme Fresh. And she's like, she reached in, she got it. She's like, I had to run down the hall, not to like laugh my ass off.
Yeah, because you don't want to freak out the kid or embarrass it. No, like that. There's nothing over there.
Yeah, it came out in her blog, so I'm sure he knows by now. Mm-hmm. It's one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't tell on some of that packaging, especially what if the kid wore glasses or was, didn't have them on. Yeah. You can't see. So half the time the shower's all foggy, and I'm like, have you seen like shampoo and conditioner bottles? They've got all this fancy stuff on it, and the word shampoo and conditioner are the smallest thing on the fucking bottle.
Well, not only that, they put like important stuff in tiny print that is either white usually or silver, and it's like it's impossible. It's like, okay, I just want to read, like the what the hell? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I hate it. So if you're gonna self pleasure on a train, there are many ways to be more subtle than a half blind person being able to visibly see you and identify you to get you arrested. But 37-year-old Sarah Hinkson draped herself across 4 seats.
Well, there's a problem right there. You're not going to be subtle right there. People are going to be looking at you like, who's this asshole?
Yeah. So Anthony Burton has only basically one working eye, and he uses a guide dog. And there's a banging noise, and he looks, and even he could tell that her hand was down her pants, and she's kicking it's like really, so she's in trouble. And it's pretty bad, like I said, when a half-blind man can identify you.
So May is masturbation month.
Is it?
It's coming, it's like that. So we're going to, feature a couple of products on the website, that are, but I'm thinking that she just jumped the gun a little bit here on masturbation month. Yeah, that's...
what the hell? What? Okay, I guess it's a thrill thing because some people like to maybe get caught.
But the point is to do it and maybe not get caught. I don't think the thrill is let's go masturbate in public and get arrested. Unless of course the point was to get arrested. There are people who do that so that they can have a place to sleep and have some food and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually, she skipped out. She's been found guilty. She skipped out on her trial, and she's got a warrant now.
Yeah, that's going to go. Yeah, well, just don't go to a sauna in Sweden or she'll be fine.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Sex robot addiction therapy. Sounds like something that's going to be necessary at some point because pretty much every week we have a story about this. What?
Well, it's not going to happen for this one guy. We got a phone call asking if we wanted the sex doll the person has because they were bored with it.
Oh, my God.
The answer was no.
Uh-huh.
He said he could use it for like a display or a mannequin or something. Honestly, it's sort of sweet that he thought about us.
Yeah.
Let's go through
Did you talk to him?
No. One of the employees took the call while I was out of town. And I thought about it, and I'm like, that tells you to honestly just how ordinary that is. Not even, which is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this person was comfortable enough to have this and call. And I think that's, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
No, because it's a used sex toy and I don't want it, but I was sort of cool that he, thought of us.
He was trying to recycle.
Yeah. He was going through there. He no longer had a need for it. Go through there. I thought it was sort of, fun that he thought about, but no, it's just used toys. And I understand. I don't know quite how you dispose of that anyway, so I can sort of see where he's going. What do you do?
Earth Day's coming up.
Yeah. But if you have a fairly expensive sex, you put it in the garbage, cops are going to call. And so the conversation at the office got very weird. But, it's about how you would actually dispose of this, really, because we can't take it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Well, I think
but honestly, I thought it was pretty cool that he was comfortable enough and to give us a call.
Yeah. So this gal named Roxanne Price is she's 25 and she's incidentally a sex worker at a legal brothel, Sherry's Ranch. And she believes that the increasing curiosity about sex robots, virtual reality, and everything else is going to make people prematurely identify as digisexuals. Mm-hmm. And she wants to make sure that people don't pre-label themselves. So she's offering sessions, she's branding. It's a branding opportunity for her.
Hey, entrepreneurship. I mean, everything is about a gig economy now, and the sex worker is pretty much that. All the time.
Oh, it's definitely a gig. So, she is saying she's found that most people, she just wants to be there and be that human, to remind them that, no, you're not entirely digisexual and you don't have to just,
It's okay to still, you can have both. It's not an either or.
Right.
A lot of people do think that about a lot of different things. We can focus on more than one thing at a time. Yeah. I mean, you can be concerned, a few weeks ago that, or when, I'm losing track of when this is going, that, that Notre Dame burned. And you can be concerned that churches burned here. And you can be concerned about floods. I mean, there's not... people are capable of being thrilled about more than one thing and being concerned about more than one thing all at the same time. Yep. And I was always fascinated that people think that one thing precludes the other.
Yes.
No. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This is quite a line. Listen to this. Okay. A newlywed couple were left shocked when their wedding photographer had a sex change between the ceremony and the reception. Let that sink in for just a minute. So what are you thinking? Like a quick snip? No. So these two girls, these two people tied the knot in a secret ceremony, and they had two witnesses and the photographer, who was then Martin Neves. 4 months later, they had their reception, and by then, Martin had been living as Katie and is waiting for the actual surgery to happen. But Katie showed up, mm-hmm. and they were surprised because he hadn't planned on it. He had planned on staying Martin, but he couldn't wait. And he said,
once you make the decision, you do need to live the life that your brain says you are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Katie shows up, and, they were very surprised, but they were supportive and said, no. Come, mm-hmm. Come as you are, mm-hmm. and all of that. But that first line is just like, a sex change between the wedding and the reception. I mean, it sends your brain spinning.
Oh, that is an outstanding headline.
Is that
there.
Great?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I thought that was really good.
I'm pretty sure that Katie, had a feeling about where she would be, more, welcome. Maybe there were some clients that, had to send another photographer to or something. But, in 2019, and depending on where it was, it shouldn't have been too much of a problem.
No, and it wasn't. Okay, this is a weird story, and it's not totally sex related, but it's something that, has been happening. I've been reading about it here and there, and I wanted to talk about it with you because you have such a good response to things. But so get this, there's this guy in Utah, family actually, near Salt Lake City, and they are being what is referred to as extreme stalking. They're victims of this, where up to 20 people a day are sent to the home for fake and sometimes illegal reasons. So somebody is out there calling and ordering electrical work, plumbing work.
Doing anything. It's just harassment in stuff. Yeah.
And then sending people there for sex or whatever. And it's really, really pretty terrifying, because it keeps going on. And listen to this. There's more than $20,000 in wages and uncollected fees that these poor companies, the legitimate companies that have been also victimized here, have suffered from this person. And they've managed to figure out that it's someone in Hawaii. But they don't know
why or why this person targeted. Now, the only thing that might come out of this is that a lot of times people and governments and stuff like that, they see this sort of stalking and harassment, but it's usually directed towards women, and some of it's not taken seriously. But when it starts happening to entire families or to men, depending on what the laws are and this sort of stuff, because they may not even know what you could, what you can do. I mean, are there fraud things and stuff like that? So my guess is that there's not even laws that address this in a lot of places. But when you start, when something like this happens, then, and it's not just happening to women, shit gets taken a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the amount of stuff that humans will do to others is just asshole stuff.
Well, and in my opinion, it's more than just the family. Again, those businesses, the individual workers, there's a lot of victims
there's fraud.
here.
I mean, and there might be, there's, the plumbing company that was sent out and wasted time or did something, they might be able to sue for fraud. Who's going through there if they can figure out who it is. But, how do you, and then, are there any teeth in cease and desist orders? I mean, stuff like that, if they can figure out who it is. I mean, if it's coming from Hawaii, there's got to be some way that they can figure out who in the family might know. I mean, it seems rather bizarre that someone would randomly choose a random family.
For sure. Here's another really weird thing. So, remember when we were kids? I mean, this is virtually impossible now. I mean, yes, we do have we can go incognito, unknown number, but for the most part, caller ID, we know exactly what the numbers are, right?
Oh, I loved caller ID because people would, especially when the stores were new, they didn't really, some people were assholes. And I would have a lot of fun for about 3 months after caller ID stuff, I would have a lot of fun calling back. And usually a woman would answer the phone and I would get to explain what had happened. And they're like, I'll talk to my husband or I'll talk to my son or
oh boy, really?
Yeah, that shit stopped about 3 months after caller ID was a thing you could get.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And so it's really, I never, I don't mask myself or whatever, but where I was going with this is when we were kids, prank calls, you could do because and what's so sad is that police, remember when it was like to get a trace on a line was some epic freaking thing. And now,
and I'm not even sure. I mean, and I'm not even sure the stuff we watched on TV was even how the shit happened. I mean, it just, I'm sure it was a hell of a my work, to do shit like that.
Oh, I know. Isn't that just weird? That's one of those weird things. Speaking of weird, China. Okay. So, the movie, I have not seen it yet, Bohemian Rhapsody. I heard it is fantastic.
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Okay.
I had a few minutes left on a flight, and I have to admit that I sort of sped through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my daughter really enjoyed it. Which was fun.
Well, I've Rami Malek, I've heard was just absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, China, in the way China does, they censored the movie before it was released there last week. So they took out scenes where men kiss and the entire scene where Queen dresses in women's clothes for the I Want to Break Free video. And now here's the thing. I mean, China legalized homosexuality in 1997. Legalized like as if it's their job.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, right? And they removed it from a list of, quote, mental disorders in 2001. Like, really?
No, there was, it's not too long ago that it was removed from the, whatever the psychiatric guidebook was here in the U.S., too.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
That is just ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, I
forgot to hit the do not disturb on the phone.
We'll see if somebody picks it up.
Oh, they will in a second.
So,
I never pick up the phone.
I don't know. People that dumb crime always just amuses the shit out of me. So, homeless Florida man. Florida man. I waited almost the whole show for you.
Oh my God, I love
Florida man.
I still think it's great that minor league baseball team's gonna have Florida man night.
I think that's hysterical.
Oh my God.
So this Florida man called 911 to report a crime. And this guy named John Sengul was arrested after he allegedly volunteered to police that he'd paid 4 people $500 for at least one of them to come to his hotel room for sex. And damn it, they didn't show up. And he was pissed. And what he didn't realize is that he then was promptly charged with soliciting prostitution. Florida man. So there you go.
Sorry, that just makes me
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
No.
All right.
If you're going to solicit, you just got to go to Nevada and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. This is pretty neat. So in addition to amazing strides that they've made in treating HIV-positive people and all of that, a story that has just made news is the first HIV-positive organ donor, and it was a kidney from one HIV-positive person to another. And this is the first time it's ever happened, and it's a big deal. And both the people are in great shape and recovering fine. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, a little bit. I also heard that there was yet another person that some sort of treatment they did, and they can't find any of the virus anywhere. They keep testing and keep testing.
Yeah.
So we're getting closer. But I'm wondering if you have to have your antigens match and your blood match and all that. I wonder if in the HIV thing, if there's various different types of HIV too. Maybe you have to have them match.
I don't know.
Think about the one extra thing you have to have match. Now you have to have the right genes in the virus you're carrying.
Yeah. Amazing.
Because that little fucker. Viruses, they mutate. That's all there is to it. Nasty little shits.
Oh, they're bastards. They are.
Yeah. So there's actually fungal infections that are mutating enough that antibiotics aren't working on them. Yeah.
Well, that's because everybody demanded antibiotics forever. Dumbasses.
Yeah.
You sent me a story though about syphilis today.
Yes. I saw it flipping through stuff like that. Well, what it is that syphilis rates are rising more so in the middle of the country now. The story was about, like I said, we'll link the whole thing. Rural areas.
Yeah. And
the thing is that people think of it as you can only get it if you use a hooker. You can only you don't talk about sex ed, you don't talk about STDs. There was even a doctor quoted in the article that says, like I said, that only hookers have syphilis. But their rates are rising in Missouri and the whole areas because they have fewer clinics, less education. Doctors don't even know to look for it. Some of them won't bring them up because of the taboos against out of wedlock sex and same sex. There was a story about 6 or 7 guys that are in their 60s and 70s that actually get together for sex, and they all had syphilis. And then they're bringing it home to their wives because these were all straight guys. Well. So the rates are going up. The lack of money for rural medicine. This is a disease that was almost eliminated. And in 10, 15 years now, it has, it's exploding again, much like measles is. And yes, you can treat these things, but a lot of times you'll have an outbreak and it's a rash and then it goes away, but you still have it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then if doctors don't know to look for it.
Oh, right.
People can be, or they're, they're not going to bring it up, or people don't know to ask for it. But it is, it's going nuts in the rural and mid parts of the country. Syphilis is back, and it's not just in the larger cities.
Okay.
And this has to do with the lack of money and education for treatment and education,
and STIs.
And STIs, yeah.
Wow.
So the whole thing, I was going to print it out, but it's the story that I found is a site that puts a fuck ton of photos in between the paragraphs.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. And I couldn't find a print, thing that didn't do that. Oh, Fred is snoring, little puppy snore. Sorry. Okay, just totally distracted. But it's fascinating. So if you do, talking about sexually transmitted diseases, you've got to be able to do it.
Yep.
You've got to be. It's not something that's in the past. It's not something that just happens to a certain segment of people. Everybody gets it. It doesn't make you dirty. There's a crap ton of viruses out there. They're easy to spread sometimes. But you need to be aware that, things like syphilis and gonorrhea and chlamydia and all these things, they're treatable. But you need to get it early enough.
Okay, so that is PSA, the big one. The second one was turmeric. Check your sources. Okay, we're here for you people, and we'll talk to you next week.